This is an incoming transmission from the Jersey Shore.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, powered by McLean Advisory Group. Today you'll hear some of the most important financial information and wealth-building techniques available anywhere.
Let's get this party started, huh?
Do you have a question for Scott and the team?
Am I on the air?
609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646.
We'll get that information to them by radio.
Now, Financial Insanity with Scott McLean.
Anytime is a good time to break a bad habit. Could be making improvements to your routine at home. Maybe it's your job performance. Could be physical health, financial health. The time to make a positive change for your future right now. But Scott, only 33% of Americans have a written financial plan. So a lot of people winging it when it comes to spending. And how could we break the bad habit of living without a budget, Scott?
How to break a bad habit. It'd be like telling me not to have cake and ice cream, and I love cake and ice cream. You know, breaking that habit is, you have to first come to a point, do I want to break a bad habit? And that's where it comes in the area of money. When you start to see your money dwindling down, maybe it's time to put the brakes on and then say, okay, I need help. Maybe you get some help. A lot of people don't think they need help. They think they got it in control, but sometimes the wives or the husbands know better. And so again, knowing there's a problem is the start. Like Alcohol Anonymous, knowing there's a problem, we can start from that. Then of course, the next area is once you understand there's a problem, okay, a budget. And that I call that the cuss word. So you got 6 letters in the word budget. And as you think about the word budget, are you spending too much? It'll catch you. And when I tell our clients before they retire, I love to meet people before they retire, either they're new to us or maybe they're heading into retirement. What I like to do is give them a budget sheet. And if they get a budget sheet, I ask them almost like the best place to put it on the refrigerator so they can see it. Alex, my mom and dad, I have to use this example as a habit, a good habit or a bad habit. They did have a budget on the sheet. I think it was for us, my sister and I. But the most important thing is my dad did the bills. My dad ended up telling my mom, literally saying to my mom, I remember when I was younger, Joan, you're going to write the bills out. You're going to see what we're spending. Because when dad does it all the time, she didn't know what was going out. So mom would go out and buy things and just spend money, well, haphazardly. And I think the challenge, Alex, what I see more often than not is one person is a Scrooge.
Poppycock. Balderdash. There.
And the other person is, spendthrift. They having a blast. And I think that's where the challenge is when a married couple start to argue about money, whether they're young or now they're in retirement. And now that, Alex, we're facing a real crunch called inflation, money goes much faster and you have to keep an eye on the budget. So mom and dad had a budget on the board, which I tell my clients and people meeting us for the first time, let's have a budget. Let's get together 3 to 6 months before you retire and see if you can stay within your budget. Let's start spending that money now. Alex, this is a hard process, but a powerful process if people are out there. So if they're doing this, I don't know if this answers your question. I hope it answers some of you out listening. But if you're fixing to go into retirement, put a budget together and just watch. And you're allowed to make mistakes. Why? Because you're going to. But when you make the mistakes, you're going to learn where they are. And I can tell you, it'll catch you when you're making those mistakes. And you'll be able to kind of figure out what you need to work on. So breaking that habit.
Well, and Scott, one of those mistakes is just being complacent. Not making adjustments to your portfolio, not paying attention to fees that you're paying, keeping money with financial institutions just because it takes you time to explore other options. So how can working with you really avoid being too complacent with your retirement savings?
I think whether it's with me or with their current financial advisor or with anybody they're working with, if they're not asking to see what's going on and maybe you're not humble enough, if you're out there listening, maybe you're not humble enough to ask for help. Maybe it's time to get a little bit humble and say, you know what, maybe I need some help. Because procrastination is like a friend of mine says, what does procrastination mean? Well, I'll tell you tomorrow. They put it off until later. I think the challenge is, again, looking at your numbers, not putting it off, and then getting help for someone who's, this is all I do for a living is work with people and guide them, not tell them, not dictate what to do, but guide them into making some smart decisions with their money so they don't run out of money before they run out of life. And that's the challenge I find.
And Scott, people want to reach out for more information. How could they do that?
Man, I'd love to be able to speak to you off the air. You were able to give us a call at our studios, 609-488-4646. Let me help you out before you give our studios a call. You might want to write down some questions before you call. That way you're really prepped with maybe I really need help in this area. Now, again, you want to give our studios a call at 609-488-4646. Bonnie at my office will make a time for us to speak if I'm in meetings. But I can tell you, I appreciate those of you that maybe just need a little help in that area. By the way, Alex, a sidebar real quick.
Yeah.
I had a lovely couple come in. They do taxes with us. They did their will, power of attorney, living will. They did their trust with us. But the gentleman, 81 years old, wife, 86 years old, came in today. Now, they've been doing taxes and their estate plan with us for now going on 7 years. He's 81. We sat down just today, as we were speaking to each other, and I was amazed they came back in. So I said, guys, how can I help you? What can I help you with? And he goes, my husband, the wife, the beautiful lady, she said, Scott, my husband needs help. I said, well, y'all still like each other? And they said, yeah. Well, they started cracking up. I said, well, I'm so happy. I said, what kind of help you need? He goes, well, I think my husband's maybe forgetting things. And I'd like to know how to get all of my required minimum distribution tax-free, because my girlfriend just put a kitchen in and she pays no taxes. What I'm getting at, for those of you listening right now, is a misunderstanding from listening to others. In other words, they don't know her income. Maybe she's in a zero tax bracket and she took money out of her IRAs and it didn't really bother her tax bracket. In this client's case, they have over $2 million and the market has been really evaporating their accounts. And they have to pull out $55,000 in RMD money this year. And they want me to help them, of course, give them the holy grail, no taxes. Well, that dog don't hunt. So I had to walk through the process of A, what they're hearing from other people. B, maybe your husband needs to change the way he invests. And he looked at me and he said, Scott, I think I need help. His wife looked at him almost with who is this guy? He never asked for help. He knew he was at the point he needed help. And I said, well, who do you need help from? Would you like it from me? Are you looking for another advisor? Scott, we've been with you for so many years. You've never tried to sell us anything. Frankly, you never even asked us to do business with you until we felt comfortable. And that's why we liked coming here, because you didn't twist our arm. Well, we finally discovered today that not only was his investments risky, but he was investing, Alex, in a CDs at 2% when he could get right now in different vehicles guaranteed 4.5% right now. Right. If you're listening to right now, I'm telling you, as of this show, I guess this show, Alex, I don't know the date of this show, but as of this show, and you might want to give our studios a call at 609-488-4646 to find the latest rates, because the rates have been getting better. But they said, you mean I can get that kind of money guaranteed? I said, yes. I'm not even going to, there's no fees, no cost. And I can take the money out. And if I pass away, it's all completely liquid. It's not tied up like these other types of vehicles. They were tickled pink. His wife looked at me. She said, Scott, this money isn't for us. It's for my children and grandchildren. What am I going to say to her? When you get your RMD, why don't you enjoy the children and give them some money, and maybe they'll really appreciate, especially in this inflationary time. And of course, crazy market. And again, habits. They have the money, but their best friend probably didn't have the money. Their best friend was not paying taxes, but maybe, and I know they're paying tremendous taxes. So we're able to work the tax structure out and educate her. And finally, they came to the point where the husband said, Scott, we need help. So if you're out there and you're thinking, you know what, perhaps I need help. Perhaps you want a second opinion. Probably all smart people get second opinions. Frankly, when my mom and dad got cancer, we didn't get a second opinion. We got a third and fourth opinion before I said, I think enough is enough. We need to take action. I don't know if you're out there thinking about that, but I can tell you, this is not a time to procrastinate. It's like our nation. What do you call a country that pushes off everything until the last minute? I call that procrastination. You're putting things off. Don't do that to your finance. Alex, I don't know if that's real clear to people, but I hope as you speak to many audiences, Alex, you speak to people around the United States, and I appreciate your time with your media company that you're helping me guide these people to make sound decisions with their money. But it comes to number one, realizing you need help, as we spoke about. Number two, coming to the conclusion, who's best to help me? And number three, don't just run to the first guy and gal you meet. Make sure there's a track record. They look at the taxes, the estate planning, and the investment, because this is holistic investing, not simplistic investing, to have so you can sleep well at night, knowing that your money's in a very good place.
Well, and Scott, you don't want to wait too long either. There's so much involved here. You're talking about fees. You're talking about tax efficient strategies. There's certain windows of time that are so important when you're talking about retirement.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's just so many details here. And that's why it is just so important for people not to procrastinate, to not get complacent. Some real keywords here today. But again, your message to the folks out there, if people are sitting there and they haven't acted, again, reiterate why you can be somebody, whether it's a first option, maybe a second opinion, but can just help explain the different nuances that need to be addressed.
Alex, you couldn't have said that better. For those listening right now, I'd like to offer you a unique opportunity to say, you know what? I think I'd like to get a second opinion. I'd like to pop in and perhaps get some ideas. If you're out there, you know what? Best way, maybe make a phone call. This way you don't feel like you're getting twisted or sold or coerced into buying something. When I do workshops, and if you haven't been to my workshops, we usually do workshops on a monthly basis. We do 2 or 3 workshops a month, if not 4 workshops. Since COVID was around, we were doing almost 1 workshop a week, and we were educating people. Not one meeting did we ever ask to buy a product, to do a service. Let's just have a conversation. And if people have been to our website, Alex, which is 609-488-4646.com. Go there right now. I encourage, if you're listening right now, 609-488-4646.com. Take a look at our website. And the reason why I tell you that is because you're going to be able to see what we're about if you go about us. And you'll see a wonderful, we made this during COVID to help people understand, hey, we want to help. And Alex, this is my 41st year. We don't beg or bug anybody. As I call my staff, we pleasantly persist if you want our help. If not, we're still here. So if you decide you want a second opinion, or like the family today, they just want to revisit, well, why don't you just come in? But if you're on the website right now, 609-488-4646, I encourage you to click that button where it says contact us. And you'll see where a button says Our Team. Contact us, click on Our Team, and you'll see a video of a couple of our clients, and I think that'll help you.
Scott McLean, McLean Tax Advisory Group. More financial insanity on the other side.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money. But do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At McLean Advisory Group, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the McLean Advisory Group team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Tax Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies are not associated entities.
frankly, you could have your grandkids tweet out to your friends or go on the Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is and say, I got great information from Scott.
And you left out TikTok there as you're rambling off
that's right.
the different social media being used by the kids today. You got to remember that TikTok.
Oh,
Come on.
that's right. Tickety-tock.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, presented by McLean Advisory Group.
There is so much excitement around starting a brand new phase of life with your retirement. But if you're relocating to your dream retirement home, downsizing to a smaller house or condo, or simply wanting to declutter for this new time of life, you've got to face getting rid of stuff. And when it comes to confronting your possessions later in life, retired professor David Eckert literally wrote the book on the subject.
You really can't delegate the management of paper to other people. You have to look at all of it. And one piece of paper can stop you for hours because you'll discover something that needs to be done or somebody who needs to be contacted. And hours of work on paper really doesn't reduce the volume of things that are in, for example, a desk or a kitchen, but it has to be done. So that would be a great place to start.
So that was Eckert talking about how that, accumulating things, that's just a natural part of life. But in his book, he says at some point, all this has to come out and it can feel overwhelming. And that's where he says those piles of paper in your house, a good place to start when you're trying to organize.
You can get so caught up in mail. You're looking through it. Get to the point. What's your focus? What's your time spent on? And it could rip apart. I mean, time is so precious. It is so powerful. And as you get older, it becomes more precious. And you'll understand that, Alex, since you're a young man. But when you get older, the question is, how much time? Where should I spend my time? Maybe it should be, for many of us listening to the station and me as well, get to the gym. Spend time there versus going through papers and papers and papers. Again, get your stuff in order. Maybe get your kids involved. And if somebody in the estate, when you talk about the dollars, the dreams, the dollars, and of course the dynasty, maybe get your kids involved when it comes to your estate. But when it comes to getting your stuff and your downsizing, this has an emotional attachment where people put it off or they don't want to get to it. They get to sort through the belongings. This could be a lot of stuff. When I hear people want to move out of their house and downsize, Alex, you just mentioned, the hardest part is sorting through all that stuff.
Yep.
And other people say a cuss word, but we'll just say stuff, because it just keeps adding up. And then your memory, you look at all this stuff and you try to put it away like these hoarders on TV. It has an emotional attachment. You know what? Let's get new emotion.
Yep.
Let's change. Let's not look at history. Let's look at the future. What could it look like and feel like? And again, as he was saying, you get so caught up in the paperwork and this and that, put it aside, get to it. And maybe you're just stop looking at this crap, be done with it. But again, the emotional attachment and sorting through belongings, this could really stop you from downsizing.
Yeah. So Scott, you're saying I don't have to keep every single drawing and little coloring that my son has done? You're saying I could throw some of that away?
For those of you who are acting like Alex, being a knucklehead right now, the answer is yes, you can keep them. With the new phones, Alex, you can take a picture, then throw it out. So if you have to go back to it,
smart.
You can just look at the pictures. Meanwhile, you're wasting flipping time looking, and now what do I do with it? Where do I put it? How do I file it? And you end up going nowhere. Your mental brain just gets stuck in this loop, getting nowhere.
Absolutely.
And that's just double dumb.
No, you are completely right. If you need help, if you need the green light from Scott to throw something away or to take a picture of it so you can keep it, the number 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. And Scott, obviously, you're not showing up to somebody's house to help them, organize all their knickknacks. But, people do have financial statements. They got a lot of financial documents. Can you play a role in helping someone organize that stuff?
Yeah, it's so important to understand where the money is and, of course, where it came from. If you're changing advisors from one advisor to another advisor, maybe you keep a year of documents back. A lot of documents now online. Every single company has it. Well, I guess they all have it online with a PDF file. You can save that, categorize it, and put it there if you have to have it. Sometimes you need to go back and look at some old trades and some things. Maybe something got messed up. But again, you can have that. But again, sort through that. if you haven't looked at it and touched it, why do you now want to keep going back? Well, just in case I need to. Okay, well, just in case you need to, then you file it away and don't look at it again until you need it. And then categorize it for those people who really are so detail-oriented. And there's a lot of smart, beautiful people that way. That's why they call them, these people, librarians. They have the master's degree. Well, you got to categorize your stuff. But again, the emotional attachment, sorting through the belongings, you think you got a lot of stuff, can be life-changing. And then, of course, when you want to downsize, it could stop you from downsizing. You really got to prioritize what's really important to me now, what's important to my family now, and what's important to me in the future. Because myself, it's hard to throw away stuff sometimes. And I've got books. My wife says, Scott, throw away these stupid books. You can get them online. I just had some good chapters in there. And she'll say to me, when's the last time you picked up that book? Well, I won't answer her because she's got me. I'm in a pickle. So those of you, if you got a wife like mine who is a lovely lady, or a husband, maybe a husband, and they're giving you some voices of reason, there's no sense fighting it because you're in a corner and you can't get yourself out of it. Just make a decision and move forward, because I can tell you the emotional, the attachment, the belongings you have, and getting rid of it, you're going to get stuck and you can't move forward.
Well, and Scott, I'm sure you've seen this before where somebody thinks they have a financial strategy, but what they really have is a pile of statements or a shoebox full of account information. And so this kind of cleanup process can also help unveil, what does the person really have anyways?
That is so important, because when you do, reviews with clients and you meet with people and say, let me find where you're at, you start asking questions, the 3D approach, the dreams, what you want. And you start asking detailed questions, and they find out, Scott, I want to thank you for a second opinion, because my financial guy really never asked those questions. I said, well, let's dive down deeper, because this is important as we talk about their dreams. And we talk about their dreams, which leads to the dollars, because we find out that maybe they suffocated their dreams because they don't know where to get the dollars. Or maybe they haven't followed through with their dreams because they didn't have a concrete plan. Well, this is really important to discuss this, not on every 3 or 4 or 5 years. Are you on your plan? Are you working out? Are you getting stronger? Are you losing weight? Are you watching it? Are you monitoring it? It's the same thing with the finances. Are we moving ahead or not?
And Scott, if you would for me, give me that phone number again, and what happens when folks make that call?
When people give us a call, you can give our studios a call, 609-488-4646. Ask for Laura. And if you've been listening to my station for over, 12, 13, 14 years, that Bonnie was here. Bonnie is retired now, moved on to greener pastures, which I hate her for because I love her to death. But anyway, she's on to greener pastures. And so I'm so pleased to have Laura help us for those new people listening to us. She'll help put you in my book, and I love to talk to you. If I'm available right away, she'll put you in. But again, we'll take a 10, 15-minute phone call and get your questions formulated. Write them down. And then what I would encourage you is, what do you want to get out of that phone call? Time is valuable. I want to give you as much meat and potatoes as I can when you ask a question. And if I don't know the answer, I can promise you I will find the answer or lead you to someone that'll help you that answer. And you can get me by 609-488-4646. Again, it's real simple. Give us a call, 609-488-4646. Very simple phone number right here in Waretown, New Jersey, right across the street from Dunkin', or down the street from Dunkin' Donuts and ShopRite, right here, a beautiful area of Waretown, New Jersey. And I look forward to speaking. Don't put this off. Planning is planning. Not planning could be failure, and it could cost you a lot of money.
Absolutely. Well, decluttering and downsizing are a few of the non-financial challenges of preparing for retirement. More to come here on Financial Insanity.
Who likes uncertainty? Wall Street certainly does not. With near record inflation and partisan politics, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. What will America's future look like? What will your future look like? Will your taxes go up? Will your savings go down? For more than 40 years here in the Jersey Shore area, Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group have seen uncertainty come and go. No matter what the future holds, Scott can help you create a plan designed to preserve your finances in uncertain times. And it's not a matter of if those uncertain times will show up, but when. Call 609-488-4646 now to meet with Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group. If uncertainty is causing you to feel insecure, Scott McLean might be able to help. Call 609-488-4646 and schedule your visit today. Again, that's 609-488-4646.
Investment advisory services are offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Get all this stuff and you try to put it away like these hoarders on TV. It has an emotional attachment.
So, Scott, you're saying I don't have to keep every single drawing that my son has done? You're saying I can throw some of that away?
The answer is yes. You can take a picture, then throw it out.
We made it back. This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, presented by McLean Advisory Group.
There's so much excitement around starting a brand new phase of life with your retirement. And as we're talking about today, well, decluttering, downsizing, those are some non-financial challenges of preparing for retirement, but challenges that they are for sure. And retired Professor David Eckert wrote the book, Downsizing, talks about just this and a time in life when you have to confront the stuff that we've accumulated over the years. David says, while it is a challenge, he says it's a good feeling to declutter, donate, and downsize.
And we studied people in over 100 households in the Midwest. People with large households and people with very modest households. Almost everybody was glad after they moved that they had been able to downsize, and they felt very good about what they did. They felt empowered.
And you can get that. We all can, right, Scott? I mean, it's scary to tackle all that, but man, when you're on the other side, you got a lot of clarity and you're feeling accomplished.
When you get rid of the emotional attachments and you sorting through all your stuff, as we spoke about earlier in downsizing, and this creates a life change, a lifestyle change. So your focus should be focused on what is it going to look like to have a smaller house? How great would it be less mowing the yard for some of you? Maybe it's living out in the country like I do. You know, this uncertainty about the future, that could be exciting for some people, but where it starts really in creating something that you can lean on, something like maybe it's a budget, or maybe you know where your money's coming from and it's solid in your mind how the money's going to be coming out. Maybe your financial concerns, your downsizing could really help save money. Now you can go out and do more things, travel more. Maybe your estate planning. There's nothing better when I see people, they come into our office, we talk about legacy planning, and now we take care of their will, their power of attorney, their living will, their irrevocable trust, why we want to protect their assets from the nursing homes, put those into different areas. Maybe you're downsizing or you're changing your business. You want to pass your business on to your kids. Putting this off causes more trouble. But as you real clearly said, clarity gives you empowerment. Empowerment moves you forward. So now you're moving from this 7,000 square foot house, or some of you 2,000 square foot, and you're moving to a smaller house. No big deal. Who cares about that? The Joneses and the Jeffersons, they're not paying your bills. You are. So what greatness, how great would it be to have an extra $1,000 a month of expendable money? How great would it be to have an extra $300 a month for some of you, or maybe $200? I don't know what your number is, but when you do your budget, when you do the estate planning and you put your legacy planning, and then we have the end of life. How do we protect all these goodies? We talk about the dreams, the dollars, and the dynasty. We talk about this all, but the biggest problem I've said over and over in my book is nothing worse than putting your head in the sand and have your vitals exposed. What are your vitals? Your assets, your money, your families, the estate, probate. You know, the crows and the clowns show up at the funeral. So these are the things that stop you. But what are the things to help you get going? A clear, concise plan with looking to the future. How great would it be looking down the line where now you're excited about the new move? Thinking about it with a different mindset. This is where people have the problems, where I notice so often the different mindset of moving. And I can tell you, we're in America. We can go wherever we want. It's a beautiful thing. If you'd like to talk about that, maybe you're stuck in the muck and say, how do I make this retirement work? We look at the dollars and then the legacy, but it's about the dream. 609-488-4646. I'd love to speak to you off the air. No cost, no obligation. Again, if you'd like to talk about the dynasty, make sure you ask Laura for our chapter 11 of my book. We talk about the dynasty, how to set up your estate. 609-488-4646. Now, here's the problem. Here's the problem. Don't procrastinate. Give me a call off the air, 609-488-4646. No cost, no obligation, just great information.
Absolutely, Scott. And people procrastinate when it comes to, well, a lot of things, but with all that stuff in their house, they're putting it off. And well, there's just things, Scott, that it's tough to procrastinate, and you're gonna encourage people not to when it comes to things like creating a budget, legacy planning, end of life planning, financial planning in general. These are all things that people can put off. And why do people put this stuff off, Scott?
It's easy.
Yeah,
it's easy to put things. It's like you. Everybody wants to lose weight, so they go to the gym for a few weeks until the pain comes on. The hell, I'm not going to do that again. Screw that. I'm not going working out. That hurts too much.
Right.
It's easy to think how you see these good, lean, mean people on TV, and when you want to get that way, and you visualize that. Oh man, that'd be great. Until the pain comes in. Well, the question is, you got to work through the pain. No one wants to go through pain. No, none of us. I'm going through the PT through my knee, and it's been really, really challenging. You think I want to go to this daggum doctor to make pain? No, I want to walk normal, like with this stupid limp. You know what? So I'm going to seek out what makes me work out, what's going to make it really comfortable in the long run. Mm-hmm. Short-term pain could be a long-term of enjoyment. And so for those people putting financial, maybe it's time to change advisors. I don't know. Maybe you want a second opinion. I don't know. Maybe you say, you know what? Am I in the right spot? Maybe it's time to pick up the phone and just say, let's dial 609-488-4646. Why? Just to get a fresh opinion, a different opinion. Not to say you've got to work with Scott McLean and McLean Advisory Group, but to say, you know what? Are we on track? Because there's a lot of stress methods to put on a portfolio to see if we have another black swan event. Could that eat your money away? Could there be another drop in the market? Could we be going to war? Could this happen? All these negative things hit your mind, and then you end up doing what? Not doing anything. Procrastination is the disaster. So again, no cost, no obligation, just great information by dialing 609-488-4646. If I can help you, I'm here for you. I guess I've been doing this radio shows what's now 15 years now with WBNJ. We're a proud supporter of them. It's an education radio show. People love it to death. I've heard, they love it, and I'm so glad to be on it. And Bill's done a wonderful job in helping our company get the information, the education. And I can tell you, we've never tried to sell people over the phone, in person, or on any products. They just come in and get information. If this is a place for you, hey, this might be the best place ever for your next phase in life.
That number, 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. And one thing, Scott, is that people just get so emotional as we're talking about downsizing today, getting rid of stuff, but people have emotional ties to their belongings, to their stuff. And so that can be difficult to go through it at all or to get rid of stuff. But also, Scott, when it comes to people's finances, people get very emotional when it comes to financial decisions. And I think, having a person like you come in to help plan and to have that outside voice who doesn't have all that emotion tied to their money can really just help folks and not be alone in all this, because it can be very overwhelming.
You have a few factors. We all do. Factor number one, when you read the book on psychology of investing or psychology of money, which I've read several books, the psychological factors that really stop people, the mental condition, this is real. Whether it's the obsessive compulsive disorder, or maybe you have the attention deficit disorder, you can't stay focused. This psychological factor can really, really hurt you. This is why maybe get your kids to help come in, or maybe your wife or your husband or someone else outside to get a second opinion, to get someone else help change your thinking. Psychological, that makes you stop. You have emotional attachment. We're so deeply, and you said it, Alex, so many times, we're so deeply attached to maybe, let's say, our old financial advisor, but he or she maybe have moved on, or maybe they only focus on the growth, not income. Or maybe they're not looking at your will, power of attorney, living will. They're not looking at taxes and how the ramification of taxes. And they're only looking at finances. So the emotional attachment to the finances, because you've been with the advisor for so many years, but they haven't looked at the full picture. They didn't take the 3D approach. The 3D approach is so critical on those three areas. And then you think, well, I'm wasting time by getting a second or third opinion. Again, psychological factor, emotional factor, and the fear of wasting someone's time or your time. Well, you know what? If all we have is time in retirement, how are you wasting it or how are you investing it? If you're not investing it, you're probably wasting it. And I can tell you, in this business now, since 1982, licensed in 83, done this for a few years now, I can tell you the information changed so much from those years to now, and the traumatic experience people faced will make decisions different. And so I say that very cautiously for you out there. Had you invested in 1929 to 1950, the market went nowhere. You probably would never want to go on the market because you saw it just take a tank. And those people investing from 1982 to 2000, the market went nothing but up. So the psychological aspect for those people in 1982, get in the market, get in the market. For those people in the market 1929 to 50, stay out of the market. This psychological effect can really traumatize your portfolio because you don't know which brain. You have a devil on one side and an angel on the left. What are you listening to? Let's look at the entire facts, because the psychological and emotional attachment could be the fear of wasting your money away and your time. Let's push forward as you're downsizing and really benefit you, your spouse, your significant other, your children, your charity, by not putting it off. And I'd love to help you. 609-488-4646. That was how you get a hold of me. Ask for Laura and say, Laura, I want to get in Scott's book. I want to have a quick phone call. Let's just have a quick discussion. No cost, no obligation, just great information. 609-488-4646. I'd love to talk to you guys. And I appreciate the time of you listening to this show.
Absolutely. We know that nearly 70% of Americans are missing a written financial plan. But we also know people without a plan tend to feel less confident about their future. And so just what you were talking about there, Scott, people put this off. It's hard to address. Sometimes it's hard to get that real. But then if you don't address it, then you're not going to be confident about your financial future. And so that's why it's so important to come in and get guidance from somebody like Scott. That number again, 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646 at.com for the website. Well, good stuff. And when we come up, we're going to hear about somebody else in the area who's helping folks. We're going to hear from Robert Brown, who's going to talk about some benefits that you might not know you have.
Oh, that's great.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money, but do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At McLean Advisory Group, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the McLean Advisory Group team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Tax Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies are not associated entities.
I call it the chicken and the egg. The chicken is the investment. The egg is the dividend. And so when the chicken pops out the eggs, if you don't need the money, let's reinvest the eggs and buy more chickens.
Man, that's just an excellent analogy, Scott.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, powered by McLean Advisory Group.
McLean Advisory Group is so thankful for our veterans and the sacrifices they've made over the years. We're going to talk today about some programs aiming to help these great veterans with daily activities, medical expenses, and more. Financial Insanity, out-of-the-box thinking for your financial sanity. I'm Alex Dingman, alongside, as always, Scott McLean.
That's right.
Today, we have a good friend of his, Robert Brown, retired Navy veteran for over 20 years. He was a chief petty officer for the Persian Gulf, and now Veterans Service Officer helping folks. Robert, thank you so much for serving this great country and for continuing to help folks find those great benefits.
My pleasure.
That is awesome. And Scott, I know you guys have quite the history, and you like each other a little bit. You work together, you like each other, and that's a good mix, right, Scott?
Once in a while.
It is a good mix. His wife's beautiful family, took his family out on the boat. We just had some fun together. So the neatest thing is how it started as we were helping our veterans. I took a class, as I mentioned in our previous show, about the aid and attendance pension benefit, which that benefit, for whether you're in a nursing home or you're at home, I mean, that benefit is really, really beneficial. My daddy was served in Korea. My grandfather served in World War II, and I am a 4F, not a Dodger. I'm a 4F. In other words, I didn't qualify because of surgeries on my body before when I tried to go in, but that was the rule in the McLean house. But notwithstanding, the aid and attendance benefit on our previous show talked about, could you get benefits whether you're at home or not because you're sick or disabled, or maybe you need to go into the facility like Vineland, Paramus, Menlo Park. There's great facility. One of the best ones, I believe, in New Jersey is Vineland. But this program today, we spoke about that as a previous program, but this program today is for our veterans that serve. And there's two types of benefits, the two types of benefits that Robert is very well of. And Robert is 100% disabled veteran benefit, not because he's ugly and I'm better looking, but because he's actually, this is not textbook, this is real world. And of course, the lawyer in our office also is 100% disabled benefit, getting these wonderful benefits. There's a connected benefit, service connected benefit, and there's a non-service connected benefit. And Robert, if we looked at the service connected versus non-service, we talk about the aid and attendance benefit, which is a wonderful benefit for those of you or your parents. You need to know about it. You need to ask us. And by the way, if you don't know about that, the number is 609-488-4646. Please feel free to give our studios a call if you have any questions. We'll get you in touch with Robert or someone that can handle your calls. If I'm busy, I don't want to miss your call. 609-488-4646. But Alex, we're talking about this connected benefits. Rob, there's two types of benefits. Let's give a summary of the this other benefit we talk about. Well, you see on TV all the time this benefit down in Camp Lejeune. We've been doing this thing for how many years, Robert? Since 2008.
Sure, a long time.
And I have one of our gentlemen in our church who has spina bifida, which comes from the water, Camp Lejeune, and he, as child of a veteran, didn't know he qualified. And when I mentioned to him, he says, "I don't believe it." And so, of course, now he believes it. Robert, there's a lot of benefits. Let's go ahead and break it down as quick as you can as we think about this great benefit.
Okay. So generally the way this works is if you wore a uniform for some period of time, however long that was, and you got injured doing anything, it could have been your hand, your finger, your eye, your leg, your knee, what have you, and that's recorded somewhere in your medical record, then you report that. The big question to the VA before they'll pay you any compensation, this is the term, it's not a pension. This form is called a compensation. Before they pay you any compensation of money, they have to figure out, did this happen when you're in uniform, while you were active duty, or did it not? So if you were out of service and discharged, and you got a car accident, it's, quote, a non-service connected issue, and the VA will not pay that. So it had to have happened or started, or at least exacerbated while you were in the service in the uniform. So is this a service connected benefit? That's what has to be determined first. And the VA does a process to figure that out. Once that's done, they say, okay, here's your problem. I understand. I'm going to send you to a third-party adjudicator to figure out, to confirm the severity of that problem, if it's hearing, again, if it's a broken leg, what have you, and where do we go from there? Is it a recurring problem, or is it a problem that's been fixed and now you're 100% better? Again, no compensation. But if there's still an existing issue, then the VA will pay this compensation of a certain percentage, equating to a certain amount of dollars every single month, again, tax-free.
In our place in Florida, we have an Ocala farm, and we have an equestrian center down there. We're behind there at the World Equestrian Center. We have one of our gentlemen who takes care of our property down there, and he is a veteran. He was in Afghanistan. He went through some real challenges, and he wasn't sure about the benefits. I said, Robert, do me a favor and give my friend, we won't say his name, but give my friend a call. I think he qualifies for benefits. He was not getting 100%, and he did connect it. He's been through a lot of challenges. I won't go deep, but some of you listening right now, maybe you have been in some deep challenges and you're afraid to apply because you saw your buddies got damaged or hurt in the war, but you didn't, and therefore you think you shouldn't apply because you don't deserve it. Right?
Downplaying the issue. You think other people deserve it, but you are just as eligible from a wartime vet versus a service-connected vet. Two different situations.
And Robert and I see this all the time. And I see these veterans as I'm doing the financial planning and I ask the question, what went on? And when I see their eyes glaze over, they don't want to talk about it. I wait to get alone with them, or I have Robert call them, because a vet to a vet will talk versus I'm a non-vet, even though I know this program very well. They would rather speak to somebody who's been in the muck, who's been in the trenches, who's gone through this worst problem. And then, of course, I tell Robert, do me a favor, call maybe you. If your spouse, if you're on there and your wife or your husband's on there and you've seen your spouse go through this, give us a call and maybe Robert can help you say some words where maybe your husband or your wife, the veteran, would like to get help, but they're afraid to get help. And I can't tell you, when I was developing another program with Columbia University, which is with the horses, if you'll see War Horses with Earl Mack, we were developing that program until COVID hit. I can tell you this is a tremendous benefit for PTSD as well. Robert can be very helpful. 609-488-4646. Again, please don't put yourself on the shelf.
Yeah.
Come off the shelf. Come off the, well, I don't need to apply. I'm tough. Well, I'm doing that now with my hurt knee. I walk around tough because I know I got to get surgery. But this is something you don't want to put off, because as you get older, more issues start to crop up, Robert. Is that right?
Oh, they do. They increase over the time, multiple times. And then had you not explored that issue, now you're putting it off. And the commencement begins when you start your application. You cannot get any retroactive money, but only moving forward once the application is put in. So don't hesitate. Talk to us. Get a hold of us. We'll figure out where do we navigate the waters from there, sailor speaking.
Once the application is put in. So thinking about it doesn't start it. Just filling out the form doesn't start it. You actually have to submit it.
Yeah,
that's correct.
And
that's
Scott, you've been helping people with their finances for over 40 years, but also very importantly, since 2008, you've been specifically helping people with their benefits if they're veterans, as you opened up the Veterans Benefit Advisory Group back in 2008. And we're talking today with Robert Brown, retired Navy Chief Petty Officer, served for 20 years, and now is a Veterans Service Officer. And guys, we have a few minutes left, and I know we're talking about some known benefits, some unknown benefits. What maybe are some other benefits or opportunities for folks that people should know about?
Well, there's a number of them. Some of them are, if you wanted dental care, you can get that. Not necessarily a particular benefit, but a benefit from having served. If you had dental issues, you can apply for a certificate of eligibility for a home loan. There are burial benefits that many people don't know about, as far as funeral services, costs incurred, the veterans cemetery, the plot, the grave marker, some of those. There's a spousal benefit that you can get for the spouses of the veteran who passed away. Again, a monthly basis for payment of that. Surviving spouse benefit, they called. Or there's dependent education benefits for the children of some of those veterans. For example, my daughter is going to Stockton University as a quote cut rate because the VA pays part of her education based upon my disability. So she's the recipient of my service and gets those benefits for her college education. So spouse dependent education benefits there. My wife could go to school if she would choose to because of the disability status that I'm at. And again, all of this is a monthly benefit, non-taxable. You don't talk about it to the accountants.
And Robert, I want to interject real quick because I think it's very important. The number 609-488-4646. But the point that this is great information for veterans, but also veterans' families as well. That's something for folks that are listening out there. There's opportunities for the families of veterans also. Again, that number is 609-488-4646. Robert, Scott, please continue. Got a couple moments left here. Very important stuff.
Couple things that hit my mind that I don't think we brought up. I can't find my dad's records. I can't find the DD-214. I don't know what to do. Robert, what do they do? Because this is a a reason not to follow up because you don't know what to do. B, a reason to put it off and maybe I'll get to it later. It's almost like putting your Christmas tree up on December 24th because you don't have any money. Well, that's what I did when I was broke. But this is different. This is a benefit for life. Robert, I can't find the records. What do we do?
Okay, so to answer that really is talk to me. All right, tell me what you know and tell me what you don't know. And I say that because if you don't know how to get your record, and again, this could be the military discharge document, DD-214, or the War Department, the WD document, or it could be I don't have medical records from when I was in. I was in Agent Orange, and when we got discharged, we just sent us home, and I wanted to get out of the Vietnam, so I just left. I never got my records, my medical records, to prove any of my disability. So we could start from there. The answer is come and talk to us. I know exactly where we submit to. I know the documents to submit for. We just do a couple documents, submit it, it comes in the mail, and we begin. So if you don't have documents, that's okay. We'll get them. And it's as simple as that. We know where to lead everyone to get this benefit. You start with that. You need the foundation. Then we proceed forward with an application and submission.
I think the worst thing I find out with veterans, being in this business now 40 plus years, my dad did pass away within 5 days when he had leukemia. Mom passed away in 3 months, and we never went for the benefit. I frankly never knew about this benefit until I was invited to school. I thought there was a scam, and they said, well, you pay $2,500, come to our school, learn about these benefits. I really honestly thought it was a scam. Dave Conley, one of our attorneys that we work with on estate planning, said, Scotty, what's $2,500 when you can help vets? And he always calls me a draft dodger, even though I wasn't, because I was 4F'd.
Yeah, the good friends give you the hardest time. That's for sure.
They do. They are. We've been together since 1984, Dave Conley and I. And the funniest thing, the wonderful most thing is I did go to school and I said, holy mackerel, every financial advisor should be asking the question, are you a veteran? Was your husband or wife a veteran? Maybe they passed away. Was your mom and dad a veteran? This is part of the estate planning process, Alex. As I meet with people, I'm asking lots of questions. They're asking, why are you asking these questions? Because I'm looking for benefits they are totally unaware of. I'm looking to reduce taxes, the best benefit. I'm looking to make their life much more pleasant. So when they retire, they don't worry about running out of money. They enjoy their lifestyle. And that's why I added this veterans benefit in there, because they didn't take me, Alex. And I felt guilty because that's the whole thing in the McLeans. All the McLeans have to join. That was the rule. And they didn't take me. And I frankly was scared to call my dad, saying they turned me down. They 4F'd me.
Sure.
But the moment I told him, I applied to every single facility, whether the Army, Navy, Marines, which I went for first. Every one of them turned me down. I didn't know they shared records. And then all of a sudden, I was afraid to call my dad. When I called him, he said, okay, son, no big deal. I thought I was going to get drilled down, because his goal and the family was to drill down people to find out the best way possible. Now, Robert, as we close on this subject, as a veteran, you've seen people apply, you've seen people get denied. And then they say, well, I applied, I did it myself, and I didn't get approved. And because they didn't get help. What do you say?
Well, first of all, I say you may not have completed every single document in every single line entry that the VA wants. So they don't explain the discrepancy on your document. They just send it back and say, sorry, not approved. So it becomes very important to know exactly what forms to fill out, exactly where to sign, how to answer the questions in order to get approved at the VA level. And based upon expertise here, that's how you get it through. We've had one claim who got approved, and Scott could verify, from start to finish in 10 days.
That was a miracle, though. That was
10 days.
Don't expect
Phenomenal.
that, guys. This was a miracle. I told you very clearly, but that was wonderful.
It was.
Well,
She started coming in. The wife came in. The husband's like,
A Marine
his
Corps
noodles
vet.
went. The Marine Corps vet. His noodles went south. He was getting flashbacks. He came in. She was crying. Didn't know what to do. They were burning cash. They were going to the nursing home. She came in from hearing me from other people. She came in within. And I will tell you this, I don't know how it happened so quick. I've never seen it, but it is out there. It is real, as long as you do it correct, guys.
Yep.
Alex?
Yep. Thank you.
And you need some guidance. And that's really what we're out here for. We're to guide you to where you need to be based upon your service and your commitment in military.
Thank you.
And that's where it is. And again, serving vets is ideal and in my heart every single day.
Thank you so much for that. Great way to close. And again, if you need help, 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. Great guest today, Veteran Service Officer Robert Brown. Robert, again, thank you for being a guest today. More importantly, thank you for serving our nation.
You're welcome.
Thanks, buddy.
Scott opened up the Veterans Benefit Advisory Group in 2008 to help veterans and their families, guiding them to these important benefits. Again, that number, 609-488-4646. The number for Scott McLean, McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646. And again, a special salute and thank you to all of our veterans.
This radio program may contain information which has gone regulatory or other significant changes since its original recording. The information and views expressed on today's show is educational in nature and is not intended to be a recommendation for any specific investment, product, strategy, plan, tax, or legal advice. Information presented is believed to be factual and up to date, but we do not guarantee its accuracy. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, a SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies, LLC, are not associated entities.
This radio show is a paid placement.